Hey guys, it's Josh Javahawk again with another Unreal Development Kit tutorial, and today we're going to talk about modifying materials in Matinee through material instances. And we're going to talk about Kismet briefly and how to create a new Matinee. We're going to link material instance actor to an empty group in Matinee and talk about the vector parameter track. We're going to go ahead and key a quick material animation and talk about how to trigger that, and yeah, how to preview that in the editor. So it's a very basic tutorial. It leads to a lot of really cool stuff though, so if you want to create some really dynamic environments, this can certainly help. So hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial, and thanks a lot. Alright, so created a quick map here, and this map is just a basic tennis court type of environment. We have two sides, a red side and a blue side, and those are the team colors. So the red players on this side, the blue players on the other side. And basically when one player scores a goal or a point, what I want to do is I want to have these lights up here on each side flash. Blue for the blue side and red for the red side. And the way that I want to do this is through simple material parameter modification through Matinee. So I realize I haven't really talked about Matinee too much, but basically Matinee is Unreal Editor's very powerful cinematics editor. So that's where we can go ahead and create all of our in-game cutscenes, but even more than that, Matinee can control animating more arbitrary things, like for example a material instance. So whenever a goal is scored in this tennis game, I want this material, this light, to give the appearance of it flashing, sort of a feedback for scoring a goal. So what I want to do is I want to design a material that I can modify in a material instance to change color over time, and then we can animate that in Matinee and trigger it through Kismet. Might sound complicated now, but I assure you it's pretty simple. So let's go ahead and take a look. Let's start by creating material. Here's the material that I've created. It's scorelight underscore MAT, and it's a very simple material. It's just one node. It's a basically a vector param 3, and the cool thing about this is I can modify it in a material instance, so I can change the color in the instance. So I've applied it to the emissive, and I've given it a parameter name of light color. This is important because we're going to need this parameter name later. Let's go ahead and save it, and let's create a material instance of it. And right click, create new material instance. I've already created two of them, a red version and a blue version right here. And notice that I've given them an initial color of white. So I've overbloomed it a little bit, so I've given them a value of 222. Alright, so close that out, and just to show you, I've applied that MIC, not the material, the MIC, to this surface and to this surface on these two static meshes. Now we want to go ahead and add a material instance actor, and you can find that by going to your actor classes and adding a material instance actor. Okay, so with this selected, we can go ahead in our scene and anywhere, right click, add new material instance actor here. I've already gone ahead and done that, so let's take a look at the properties of this, and go to our content browser, leave that open under materials. We're going to need the MIC that we just created. So let's look at the properties of the material instance actor, and under material instance actor we're going to apply that material instance to this actor. So make sure that this reference is here. And we'll go ahead and close this out and close this out. Okay, so let's open up Kismet now. Kismet, again, it's a little K up here. Kismet is what controls all of our level scripting. So we want to right click and create a new Matinee. And with our material instance actor selected, we also want to add that to the scene. So with that selected, this option will show up, new material instance actor 1. Let's go ahead and add that. Here we go. Alright, so let's go ahead and double click on Matinee, open that up, and what we're going to do is we're going to add a new empty group. So right click, add new empty group, and we'll give it a name of material color change, okay? And if you recall, in the material that we created, we added it was a vector 3 parameter, so we're going to add a vector material param track. Now if it was a float, a scalar value, we would add a new float material parameter. Let's go ahead and add that. Go ahead and close Matinee real quick because I want to show you when we created that new empty track, it created this new node, and because we want it to be linked with our material instance actor, let's go ahead and link it. And so now this is attached properly, and we can go ahead and make some changes. Alright, so open up Matinee again, and you notice that actually Matinee, it's not like the material editor where you have to save it when you close it. It automatically saves when you close. And Matinee will only let you have one Matinee window open at the same time. So let's click on Vector Material Parameter and give it the param name. You remember the param name? This is very important. It was called light color. It's the parameter in the material. And now we have access to that parameter in the material instance. Alright, so I want this light color change to be about a 2-second animation. It's going to fade from red back to white in 2 seconds. So I'm going to add 2 keyframes. One is going to be at time 0. So I move my little cursor to time 0, and up on the right here, add key. And notice a little red key pops up. And we'll go to time 2 and add another key. I also want to make sure my entire animation doesn't last 5 seconds. Right now, it's 5 seconds, so we need to drag the length of our Matinee down to 2 seconds, and there we go. Just get it pretty close. Okay, so let's visually look at what's going on with these 2 keyframes. So on Vector Material Param, click on this graph icon, and now the graph editor pops up. You can see that at time 0, our RG and B values, the red, green, and blue colors here, are all set to 0. And at time 2 they're all set to 0 too. So let's make changes to these components individually. I'm going to expand the graph editor. I'm going to hide the green and the blue channels. Okay, so at time 0 we want the color blue, and the color blue is going to be denoted with the typical RGB values. But red, we don't want any red, and we don't want any green. We want 100% blue and no red or green. So I'm going to leave this at time 0 to a value of 0. But at the end, we're going to have, it's going to go from blue to white. But since white is all the colors have at 100%, we're going to change this value to value 2. Okay, so let's go ahead and hide red now and look at green. Time 0, we want 0 green again, like the red, and we want to set the value of the blue to 2. And let's go ahead and do the blue. Now we wanted 100% blue, so we're going to set the value to 2 at time 0, and at time 2 we're also going to have a value of 2. So let's turn all of them on, and what we notice is that the red and the green both start at 0 and end up at 2, and the blue is the only one which stays at 2. This is going to basically change the color from blue at time 0 to white at time 2. Alright, close Matinee out. That's pretty much all we're going to do with Matinee right now. Now we're back into Kismet. Now we're going to use Kismet to trigger the Matinee. This is what's going to trigger the animation of the material to play. So I have this trigger volume touch here, and this touch trigger is attached to an actual touch volume in game, and I've set it up so that whenever the tennis ball crosses that touch field, it scores a point for the other person. So as soon as this is touched, that's basically when I want to trigger the Matinee to play. So I'll attach that to play, and in the Matinee I'll go ahead and also click on rewind, make sure that the rewind on play is selected. Otherwise, after the first play, the light won't reset and you won't get the animation to play. It'll basically get stuck on the last frame of the animation. Alright, so another thing that we can do is let's say that we want to do one for the red side. We don't have to do this all from scratch again. Basically, we just need to create a different material instance actor and reference another material. We can copy the entire Matinee, so Control-C, Control-V, and link it to another touch field, so when the other player scores a point, it's going to play that. And you're just going to make sure that in the Matinee, instead of modifying hit the graph editor, instead of modifying it to change from blue to white, we just need to make sure that it goes from red to white. So the red, we want to have a value of 2, and we want to make sure that the blue has a value that starts from 0 and goes to 2. Well, how do we know this is working? Well, we can actually go make sure that your real-time preview is on, and we can drag through the animation in Matinee and see the real-time preview in game, which is a cool feature. You can also play it in real time and confirm that it's actually animating properly. Also wanted to go and just check the blue side, and yeah, confirming that that works too. So this is a pretty powerful tool, and you can get a lot of cool things out of this. And I don't want you to think that this is this is a very simple case. You can create some very complex materials and animate them in a very complex manner in Matinee. Um, may or may not be the best way to do it, but it certainly adds a lot of extra functionality. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and please again feel free to follow me on Twitter. It's Javahawk. Thanks a lot.